I think most of us can agree the best part about The Last Knight was Megatron's design. The movie itself, probably the worst of all the Transformers movies. A lot of the character aspects, not good. Some of the designs, trash, but Megatron was done right. His knight design really matches Optimus Prime's knight design. It's a really good design for Megatron. Now, granted, it makes no sense why he went from Galvatron in Age of Extinction back to Megatron. They had absolutely no explanation for that. Maybe Quintessa converted him back, but we don't know. We don't know. Michael Bay didn't care whatsoever about continuity, and if the new Bumblebee and Rise of the Beast movies are in the Michael Bay continuity, which we still don't know, because, like, the director says it's not, but then, the people, like, in charge of producing it say it is. We don't know. Continuity is non-existent in the Transformers movies. They're big, dumb, giant robot movies. But I do have to say, TLK Megatron, his design is great, and his toys are equally so. I don't have all of them. I don't have, like, the deluxe one that was a repaint of the, IDW Stealth Bomber Megatron, even though that one is really cool. I don't have, like, all the, armor battle flip and, all spark power, whatever. I don't have all of them. But I do have the Leader class, the Voyager class, the One Step Changer, and the Legion class. And these toys are really, really cool. There is also the Unique Toys version of TLK Megatron. And I don't do third-party. I say I don't do third-party. But I do have a couple Unique Toys figures. I have Optimus and I just got Galvatron. So I'm kind of thinking I might make an exception just for Unique Toys. I might get that Megatron, we'll see. But for now, I just wanted to appreciate the official Megatrons released for the movie back in 2017. So let's just get into it. Let's move the ones off to the side we're not going to be discussing right now. Let's talk about the tiniest one. This is the Little Legion class. I really love how The Last Knight and Bumblebee had Legion class figures. That's actually one of my biggest disappointments about Rise of the Beasts, is that yes, there are Legion class, but they're all just Bumblebee repacks. I really like Legion class. I really do like this scale. It's probably the smallest I do like Transformers. I don't like them any smaller than this. But they're really cool. And this Megatron, for being a Legion class, is very nice. You can see his details really cool. His head sculpt's looking nice. He does have the wings sticking off the back, which some people may not like that whatsoever. But me personally, it's Megatron. He has wings sometimes. It's okay. You can fold him down if you want, but it kind of gets in the way of the arms. So yeah, he's looking cool. His articulation, nothing at the head. Ball joints and hinges at the shoulders, so you can move the cannon around if you want to. The hips, they're on ball joints, so you can move them forward and out. And he's got knee bends. So he actually has a decent amount of articulation for a little tiny Legion class. He's really nice. I don't know. I just saw him in the store back in 2017, and I was like, yeah, I'll take that. So there's not much else to talk about with him. Let's transform it. Let's see how he goes. So we're going to flip me do, I think, the legs. Legs are pretty much going to fold in pretty traditionally. We're going to flip me do that. Then I think the arms just... Actually, what are we doing? There we go. Wings go in, and then the legs go in. There we go. Get order of operations right, and you're on your way. So then, the cockpit is essentially going to form around the arms. You just got to get the arms situated properly. And I think his head flips in. Doesn't his head flip in? Yeah. His head flips in because the head gets in the way. And voila, there we go. Little tiny Last Knight Megatron jet. And given how this is a Legion class and the fact that the only real compromise we had to make were the wings poking out in the robot mode, this is really successful. This is a really successful Legion class. Legion class got really good near the end of there, and then they just stopped doing them. Because, these are a lot smaller than, Core class, Core class is more like, akin to Cyberverse Commander class, from Prime and Dark of the Moon. And this is Legion, they're smaller. So I do like this. I really like the Last Knight Legion class line. I've got a decent amount of them. And if this is one you're wanting, I definitely think you should get it. Next up, we've got the One Step Changer. You may be thinking, why'd you want this, J4, in this stupid One Step Changer? Well, yes. but I kind of like one-step changers sometimes. And I think this Megatron, again, I just love the design. I saw this in the store, and I was like, I kind of want that. And I think I got on clearance for like $5, so I'm not stressing about it. He does have arm swivels, so you can still have him fight. We were brothers once, you can have him say all the... That's pretty much the only iconic thing he really said, wasn't it? He was also like, I want my crew, They never really made toys of his crew. They made Nitro Zeus. That was pretty much it. Hopefully Studio Series gets around to making some. Because, even though they, per Michael Bay, were just one-note bad guys that died as soon as they appeared, they were kind of cool looking. So yeah, he's one-step changer. Let's one-step change him. Actually, I don't think they called him one-step changers by the time of the last night, because they did have like a couple extra steps. Maybe there was like, turbo changer or whatever, something like that. Because you do have to flip out his wings as well. So you can leave the wings flipped out if you want, but they do give you that additional point. Then the feet also flip in. So then after that, we pretty much just take this nose cone and we rotate it, and boom. Isn't that cool? Here, let's look at that again. So you can see, you rotate the nose cone, and it does all this flipping, and the arms totally flip into position. That's really well done. You can leave the feet out if you want to, but I do appreciate that they let them fold in, so you can kind of have them a little bit more out of the way. Again, very successful jet. Very successful. I always love how the toys added this little bit of gold. It wasn't really there too much in the movie, but it makes the toys look a lot nicer. That is just a really cool alt mode for Megatron. I like this one. Definitely like this one. So we've got the smaller gimmickier ones out of the way. Now it's time to take a look at Voyager Megatron. This is my personal favorite. The Voyager class is absolutely phenomenal. This figures is so good. This is the one that's been bootlegged by, Wei Jiang, tons of other companies into super massive, awesome toys. And I've kind of always wanted one of those, but this definitely is good enough for me. It's so nice. Pretty much the only thing, I wish it had the battle mask. I wish you had the option. Maybe an interchangeable head, something like that, or the mask actually working. They only integrated that with the leader class. The Voyager, unfortunately, doesn't. But if I do have just, one face for Megatron, I would prefer it to be the more traditional, growly teeth, I'm Megatron. It's really cool. This figure's amazing. They really don't need to make a Studio Series Last Night Megatron. If they do, just repack this, honestly. You don't need to make a new one. I mean, if you do improve anything, maybe an interchangeable head or a working battle mask would be cool. That's it. It's pretty much my only thing. I love the fusion cannon. It's so nice that the Last Night finally did give Megatron a fusion cannon after all these years. Now, granted, he did have fusion cannons in the other movies, but this is the first time he has like the classic arm-mounted fusion cannon, So it looks great. His sword is super awesome. I love his sword. Last Night Megatron's sword has always been a very cool weapon. You can see he doesn't have a lot of stuff sticking off of him. He does have the nose cone of the jet, but it's not really in the way too much. You do get a little bit of hollowness with, some of the detailings and the inner workings back there, but it's not that big of a deal. I love how the thrusters turn into skirts. I just think that looks really cool. Now, granted, not as accurate of skirt armor as like the leader class, but I kind of don't mind it when they, make that compromise and give you like a vehicle mode part as some of the skirting armor. The wings are around the legs, and I know some people think that's a little ugly, but I think it looks pretty nice. I don't mind, wings being wrapped around legs like that. They've done it a few times in the past, and I think this is pretty successful. Gives him some big meaty calves, very big, strong, meaty calves. He's just a cool Megatron, and he feels really good, too. So let's go over his articulation. He's got a ball joint at the head, so you can get a pretty much up but no down, and then swivel side to side. Swivel and universal joints at the shoulders. You can see he does have armor panels that flip up, which is really nice. They didn't have to do that, but I'm happy they did. They seriously, could have just left it like that, but they're like, no, we're going to give you more articulation. Swivel the bicep, Very nice bends at the elbows for this guy. No swivels at the wrist, which, yes, for some people, it's a big deal. For me, it's not. He poses just fine, you know. No waist swivel. That's really for the transformation. He does have skirt armor that gets out of the way. And thankfully it is independent skirt armor, so it's, you know, there's like some Gundams and other toys where the skirt armor is one piece. So if you want him with his leg forward but not the other one, he's going to look like that, and it's super ugly. But this one thankfully doesn't have that issue. The legs do move out too, so that's nice. Thigh, knee, and then the foot, he has like a transformation hinge for like the ankle, but the main articulation you're going to get is this pivot right here, which goes pretty far out. So overall, Last Night Voyager Megatron's robot mode is an absolute winner. This toy was amazing when it came out, like 6 years ago? And it's still amazing today. I mean, just look at this guy. If you can get your hands on the original copy, or even a knockoff, because the knockoffs of this guy are really good, I really recommend this figure. It's so nice. Personally, like I said, it's my favorite. I personally recommend this over the leader class. But obviously, you know, I got this one first, but I still got the leader class later because the leader class is still really cool. So let's get this guy transformed. It's been a while, but I think I can pull it off. And again, I do need to preface this in a lot of my videos nowadays. You know, this isn't the kind of video you want to go to figure out how to transform them. Because sometimes I goof it up. Sometimes in these videos, I don't get it right. And that's because I like testing to see how easy it is to just transform it without instructions and without, you know, any reference material. I kind of do it, you know, and I see how far I can get. And I don't think his head does anything. I think it just rotates, right? And then the nose cone covers it up. But yeah, you know, I've had some people like correct me on certain things, and in the video itself I say I don't care. So, you know, just, you know, keep that in mind. So yeah, the nose cone covers the head, and it actually covers it pretty well, you know. If you know, you know that's his head. But, you know, you might not know. So then, I know those panels are going to flip up. I think I've got this. Though. I think the arms, don't the arms like rotate back or something? I don't know what the arms do. I don't remember. The legs obviously are going to be the wings. So we're going to want to get this all situated. And thankfully that foot joint also works to flatten the foot. Does it move in more? Yeah. That is one thing with this guy, you know, since the wings are attached to the legs, thusly in the jet mode, the legs are attached to the wings. So again, that's something that some people have expressed issue with. They're like, oh man, he looks so ugly, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, yeah, you know, it's there. What are you going to do about it? I'm pretty sure the arms collapse in like this. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, because the fusion cannon feeds into that gap in the middle. Yeah. Yeah, we're getting there, guys. We're getting there. This figure's so fun. And the plastic just... Certain movie toys, you know, if you've collected Transformers for a while, you know, certain movie toys do not feel good, right? Certain ones, the plastic feels really bad. Oh, yeah. Forgot that hinges. And you're just like, oh, man, it feels gross. But this one, the plastic feels robust. This figure is very, very good. It's one I really, really love. So we're almost there. Just gotta peg that skirt armor in, get the arms reattached to each other, because those came undone. And then the legs are going to connect right there. And I think we got it. Yep, there we go. There is Last Night Voyager Megatron in his jet mode. This is so cool. You can have the sword pegged up the top. And actually, this is weapon storage. I think looks really cool. I think the sword looks really nice on the top. I love this jet mode. I know some people are like, why are the thrusters facing forward? You know, maybe they're intakes. I don't know. It's a Cybertronian jet. For all you know, this guy, he can thrust forward, and then he can use those to thrust back if he needs to. He's an alien jet. It's such a nice vehicle mode, though. It's so nicely done. It does have the, you know, the privilege of being a Cybertronian jet, So it's not that egregious that, robot arms are just dangling down the bottom there. It's not as egregious that the legs are just right there. If this was trying to be an Earth jet, it would look pretty ugly. But thankfully, this toy, that it knew what liberties it was afforded to it, and it rolled with it, and it did a great job. This Megatron, man. It's very rare that I, specifically want to get toys off the shelf to play with. In a way where I want to get, every version of the character off the shelf. And I wanted to do that with the Last Night Megatron, and I was like, why not just film doing it? Why not just film myself playing with these? People are going to want to see it, and I wanted to do it. So there we go. There's the Voyager Megatron. Let's kind of get him off to the side as well, because then, last but not least, we've got the big leader. So the Last Night Leader Megatron. This is not a toy I originally got. When this was first in stores, I passed on it. I told myself the Voyager's perfectly fine. It scales best with all the other characters. I'm not going to get the leader. But I found the leader class for about $20, about a year or two after its release. But the reason it was so cheap was because I only got one flame. I don't have both flames. But me personally, I'm fine with that because I only really need the one flame for the gun, when he's burning trash. So intimidating. But, the two flames were for the jet mode, so you can have, flame effects coming off of it, which is cool. But me personally, I don't need flame effects in my vehicle modes. I really just wanted the one for the fusion cannon. So I was perfectly fine just having the one. And, it's a nice big piece of plastic. I really do appreciate the inclusion of these. But if you find this guy used and it doesn't have the flame effects, I wouldn't worry too much. It really does look nice displaying him with this. He does look really cool with it. If you can get at least one, I definitely would suggest it because he does look really cool. But if you see this guy for like $20 or $30 and he's looking like this, no flames, don't feel bad that you didn't get him because they're not necessary. They're really not. So this Megatron, for being the same design as, the Voyager and all the others, it transforms pretty much entirely differently. You can see the nose cone, instead of being on the back, is the fusion cannon now. So it's a lot bigger. Some people do appreciate that size increase. I think the cockpit opens too. Yeah, it's kind of cool. Some people appreciate the size increase, but it's a lot bigger than it was in the movie. I think the Voyager is better. And then another thing too, the wings are now on his back. So if you want to kind of make him look like the one-step changer in the Legion class, you can. It's very different. And I haven't transformed this guy in even longer than the Voyager, so the transformation part of this portion of the video is going to be a little bit more painful, I'm sure. But one thing they added with this one that the Voyager doesn't have is like the silver dry brush. It's not on every part of the figure, but you can see it's on the skirting. I think it's on the chest just a little bit. I know it's on the nose cone right there, and it looks really nice. Yeah, the dry brush is really cool. He does have more Cybertronian glyphs on him, too, I noticed. Especially on the wings. I don't think the Voyager has the Cybertronian glyphs on the wings. But I think one of the biggest differences between this guy and all the other Megatrons, I feel like this Megatron was made to have the mask gimmick. As you can see, there's a lever on the back of the head. And you push it down, and his mouth flips, and the horns come off to the side. On my copy, one horn comes out a little further than the other, which is kind of silly. But it pulls it off pretty well. It doesn't look as good as the Voyager class, I would say, when it comes to the sculpt and everything in this mode. I feel like this head was definitely made for the battle mask. I look at that and I'm like, yeah, that's what this was for. This figure was for the battle mask. I do wish other figures retained this gimmick, but I'm just happy the leader class has it. If anyone's going to have a gimmick with the face, it should be the leader class. And he looks so cool with the battle mask. He really does. I think the Last Night Megatron with the battle mask is one of the best Megatron designs. Personally, I'm very biased. I still prefer the first movie design for Megatron. But if you say the Last Night Megatron is your favorite movie Megatron design, I am 100% not going to argue with you. That is a very, very valid opinion. Honestly, Megatron has a lot of really good movie designs. I want to see that Bumblebee movie design. We've seen it on, like, the Titan Changer box, but I want to see it, and I want to see a toy of it, and I want to see it on the big screen. Maybe. Maybe someday. But yeah, this is a really nice Megatron. He does feel kind of light. You know, it's a newer leader class, and it's a larger leader class, too. So, you know, a lot of the size, you know, reduces some of the, I mean, look at that. His arm is totally hollow. He's got some hollow bits on the go. Because larger leaders, you know, they're going to be a little hollower. They're not going to be as dense as they used to be. But let's get this guy transformed. So before we do that, we need to go over his articulation. So he just has a swivel at the head because of the gimmick, and I think it's totally okay. And obviously you can't flip that again. He has universal at the shoulders, but this time around, instead of having like separate armor panels that move, that panel is just a part of the arm. So that's a little different this time around. He's got a bicep swivel. He does have elbow swivels, elbow pivots, I should say. He does have wrist swivels, so keep that in mind, because he's kind of made in this way to have like the gorilla arms. You know, like especially with this one, the fusion cannon's on the bottom of the arms, so that might be a problem for some people. But you know, you can turn the wrist if you need to. You can turn it. But I think for Megatron, you know, it's okay. It's okay if the fusion cannon's on the bottom of the arm. It still works okay. So then after that, I don't think he has a waist swivel. No, again, no waist swivel. You do have the skirting that moves out of the way. He does have nice clicks at the hips. He's a leader class. He needs clicks somewhere. It's mandatory by law. So he's got nice leg clickies. He's got thigh swivels, knee bend, and then his foot, he does have a bit of a toe joint. Then that's the big thruster coming out. Let's not do that quite yet. And he does have a little bit of a pivot. Not nearly as much as his Voyager counterpart, but he's got a little bit. So his robot mode's really nice. It's definitely a very nice Megatron toy. If this is your only last night Megatron, you're totally fine with this. This is a really cool Megatron. I do prefer the Voyager. I still do. But this is very cool. So let's go ahead and get him transformed. And wish me luck. Hopefully I remember how it goes. So let's take his very big, awesome sword out of his hand. I didn't really talk about this much. It does look really cool. I do like it. And then we're going to get his hands flipped into his arms. I know we got to do that. Oh, yeah, but that comes out, right? Yeah, this, like, is a separate entity in its entirety, right? How does that come out? Oh, that's weird. And then that's, oh, okay. Yeah, we're getting there. We're figuring it out. So then after that, we're just going to leave that as it is for now. We're just going to leave that. Does his chest split like the Voyager? I don't think so. I know he's got the big old wings on the back. Oop, just popped one out of place. That's one thing, I like pointing these out in the videos. If parts come out easy, I want to point them out, because if you're buying this figure used, make sure it's got that piece. And then that's a little winglet right there. Man, I love this figure, but I haven't played with it in a long time. I feel like I'm missing a hinge. I feel like that's supposed to unhinge a little bit more, isn't it? Isn't it? Oh, wow. It's just kind of a mess of things going on. Okay, let's move down here. I know that flips out. And maybe that closes back. Maybe. Maybe that's the intent. Whoop, that came off. Okay, this flips down like this. That's how that flips down. So you kind of wedge it, you move some stuff to get it moving, and then it goes down. And I'm assuming that will straighten. Oh boy, this definitely has a lot going on. Okay, and that'll fill out the wing right there. So the wings are getting there. It's so fascinating with some of these toys. Like, this is, you know, the same character, but it's a totally different design philosophy from other versions that we've seen. It's entirely different. It's just so fascinating whenever they do this. Okay, so the legs. I see there's a hinge by the... Oh, there goes that again. There's a hinge up here. Does that contribute to anything? I'm sure it does. Oh, man. This transformation has always been very odd to me, because it's so different. It's so drastically different than all the other versions. It really is. Now, granted, I appreciate that. I appreciate how different it is. But it's so wild sometimes how the same character can be converted in so many different ways. Okay, so this arm gonna flip like this. And then we need to figure out how these are gonna go. How are these going to configure? I'm sure some of you hate my videos sometimes, because I just try to figure out how to do it in the fun way instead of, oh, let me look at the instructions. Oh, what do the instructions say? I don't like looking at the instructions. It's no fun. It's no fun. Okay, so that seems to be kind of stuck. Why is it not clipping in? Or are we not clipping in right? Okay, so the fusion cannon kind of clips it in. Okay, so we want that fusion cannon folded in all the way. Okay. So then this right here, oh, that's a separate panel. Okay. So we're getting there. So that panel covers that. Then the arms go together. There we go. There's the nose cone. There's the nose cone. We're getting there. We are getting there. I'm going to assume this is going to hinge back and go in right here. And then the legs. Maybe those kind of end up in the same spot as they do on the Voyager. Okay. Then that straightens a little bit more. Then that goes in there. Then I guess the armor, the skirt armor, just kind of stays back here. Again, like I said at the start, you know, don't watch this video if you want it to be an exact, like, oh, you didn't transform it right, blah, blah, blah. You know, I probably didn't. I probably didn't, man. I'm not, if I want to know how to transform it right, I'll watch a video. I'm just kind of getting them off the shelf and playing with them. But I think we got it. I think we got it. I think that's it. There is, oop, maybe that's not it. Oh yeah, I forgot this came off. Let's reattach the piece that was removed. I'm pretty sure that's probably supposed to stay in this weird angle. Oh my goodness. Oh no. Please, please, I beg. Reattach. Reattach, please. Oh no. Let me untransform it. Yeah, this is why you should always make sure the parts that come off are attached properly. That one just, I guess, it's probably like a mold problem. Yeah, you can see that clip right there is kind of extended. It's a mold problem. It's not properly situated in that peg it's supposed to be in. But then we'll get that. Oh, it kind of latches in right there too. Okay. So get that latched in. Get the chest in. Get the wing attached again. Notice that comes out a lot. That's a little annoying. But there we go. There is last night Leader Megatron in his jet mode. Let's zoom out a little bit because we gotta take in the glory of this big jet. I would say the jet on the Leader class is probably nicer than the Voyager. It does have flip out landing gear too. That's cool. So you can flip that out and then you can make sure that's in there. I don't think he has landing gear anywhere else. I'm not seeing anything. Maybe it's like those little struts down there. Maybe that's like the extra landing gear. I guess that button, you know, kind of activates that gimmick, but still, it's kind of a pain to get that staying connected because it always wants to come out. This is a really cool jet. I really like this. And again, you know, you got weapon storage, just like the Voyager. This peg's on top, and again, just like the Voyager, I actually think that's cool looking weapon storage. And then if you do have both flames, you can attach them to the back. It would look really cool having both. This Megatron feels like the kind of Megatron you might want to display in the jet mode. I wish I had both, but the fact that I got it for only $20, because I think the Last Night was the movie that ups Leader classes up to $50. I think that was the movie that did it. So, you know, I don't think I ever would have wanted to spend $50 on this. You know, 20 was a very nice price. So there we go, guys. There is my retrospective of the Last Night Leader, Voyager, One Step, and Legion Class Megatrons. What a cool character. What a cool character design. I was about to say what a cool movie, but that's actually not true. What a cool portrayal of Megatron in the movie. Because Megatron's portrayal was very cool. Frank Welker did an awesome job. It was the first time seeing Frank Welker as Megatron in live action. He was Galvatron, but personally, why was this Megatron again? Why wasn't this Galvatron? Continuity. It just doesn't exist in the Michael Bay movies. And, like I said at the start, if Rise of the Beast and Bumblebee is supposed to be a part of that universe, then the continuity has been absolutely thrown out the window. But, personally, I hope it's not. But I hope the director is right, and it's a new universe. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. They still do some things that make you think it's in the Michael Bay universe, and they still do some things that make you think it's new. But we're not talking about Rise of the Beast. We're talking about Last Night Megatron. His toys are awesome. In order of what I recommend this one, Legion Class, and then One Step. You don't need the One Step. You really don't. But I like it. I think it's nicely done. It's kind of cool how it all hinges. Alright guys, there we go. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know which Last Night Leader Megatron is your favorite. And let me know if Last Night Megatron's your favorite Megatron design from the movies. Because personally, for me, it's my number 2. I still have the biggest soft spot for the first movie design. But Last Night's is really solid. And these toys are even more solid. Alrighty, thank you so much for watching, guys. Special shout out to channel members, as always. Thank you all so much for the continued support. Couple extra things. I was turning them back into robot mode to put them back on the shelf. And a couple things. So, with the nose cone, one of my biggest issues was that it wouldn't stay together. But if you pinch the front, it stays together, which is pretty nice. But the main thing, I was turning him back into robot mode. And midway through, I realized you can kind of give him a Revenge of the Fallen fusion cannon arm fan mode. Because, you know, if you don't transform this and you let that open up, it just kind of looks like his Revenge of the Fallen fusion cannon. And that's actually really cool looking. I'm not going to leave him like that, but I hate to say it. In some ways, I actually kind of prefer it. I can kind of understand why they gave him a big arm cannon in the other movies. All right, that was it. I just wanted to mention those. Bye.